her off. Flying through the hallway like a disco moth. Pitching to the couch, then I loop through the fan. My tiny whoop's grooving like a funky jam. I dip through the doorway, spin by the cab, bounce off the toaster, yeah, I meant to do that. Neighbors knocking, saying, what's that sound? It's my brush motor soul train getting down. Flying through the curtain, dancing on breeze, freestyle funk in my living room with ease. Tiny whoop magic, bumping every wall. I'm the James Brown of flight, can't stop it all. I got LED strobes and a shag rug trail. I'm looping through the lava lamp, leaving a tail. My whoop's got rhythm, my sticks got soul. I'm the pilot of the party. On a roll, TV remote's a gate, the lamps a dive. I'm flying like it's 7.5. No GPS, no rules, no shame. Just a funky little quad in a soul train frame. Move it low, we fly that flow. Spread that gap, no time to nap. No time to nap. Hit that roll, funk and control. Bounce that wall, we fly it all. We fly it all. Tiny whoop love, funky and free. We fly indoors, we fly with glee. Whoop it, loop it, groove it, move it, bounce it, flip it, funk it, rip it, fly that soul, don't lose control. Tiny whoop love gonna make you whole. I thread the needle through the vinyl stacks, bounce off the mirror ball, never looking back. My quad's got soul, it's got style, it's got sass. It dips through the incense like a blast from the past. I'm flying figure eights through the lava lamp glow, dodging house plants like a funky pro. My whoop's got rhythm, my sticks got heat. I'm the pilot of the party with the grooviest beat. I loop through the hallway, I dive by the broom. I'm the disco ghost in your living room. I hit that split that's over grandma's chair. She just claps and says, boy, you got flair. I'm flying freestyle with a velvet touch. My quad so smooth it don't need a clutch. From the shag rug to the ceiling fan, I'm the funky little fly with a master plan. The curtains dancing on the breeze, freestyle funk in my living room with ease. Tiny whoop magic bumping every wall. I'm the James Brown of flight, can't stop at all. Can't stop at all. Can't stop at all.
Greetings, my name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti, and every single time I live stream, I forget to zoom the camera, and someday I'll buy a prime lens for this that is 19 millimeters, and I won't have to do that anymore. Welcome to Whoop Wednesday, you fart bag bastards. Insult them. That's how you get them to support you. You were just watching the... Oh, God. It's still plugged in. Hold on. You were just watching the AOS Cine 30 V5. Whopping around the neighborhood, testing 3-inch propellers. HQ 3x3x3 old school propeller. HQ 3x2.5x3 new school propeller. Gemfan 3052. And Emax Avan Rush. These are the first 4 3-inch propellers that I've tested in the way that I've been testing props over the last, oh God, month and a half? been a while. I've been testing a lot of 2-inch, 2.5-inch, and now 3-inch and 3.5-inch propellers to see what the amp draw is like, what kind of RPM they pull at full throttle, how well balanced they are using black box logs, and how loud they are. Those are the 4 main things that I'm sort of testing. I fly them all a little bit so that if there's any other weird stuff that they do or don't do, I might notice it. But those are the 4 main things, and those are 4 super important things. So yeah. Hey, I'm also now testing hover point. You may have noticed when I take off now, I lock it into a hover real quick before I go do the full throttle hit. Also, so I'm checking how well balanced they are with the black box logs, which is kind of a no-brainer. But I'm also taking the onboard 04 Pro flight footage, and on some of these rigs 04 Lite, and I'm running it through GyroFlow and seeing how it does in GyroFlow, which has not told us a lot about propeller balance, but it has told us a little bit. If I run 2 files back to back, one of the propellers is not well balanced, the other one is well balanced. Pretty consistently, GyroFlow will not freak out nearly as much on the better balanced propeller. And so, yeah, a lot of like real world testing. Here, speaking of real world testing, here's something that's super interesting. A long time ago, Chris Rosser tested 3-inch propellers, and he tested the vibrations. He tested how well balanced they are, but he only did it at a static single RPM. He did it at whatever RPM each one of these propellers needed to make 200 grams of thrust. And so far, the 4 propellers that I've tested are not mirroring this at all. The vibration testing that I'm doing is from sweeping the throttle over and over and over again, 0 to 100%, sometimes fast, sometimes slow. I'm also doing some cruises. I'm doing flips. I'm doing rolls, flips, and yaw hits. I'm creating a good quality black box log in order to test these. And I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised. Testing propellers at one specific RPM, yeah, I mean, if you fly around at 200 grams of thrust, sure, this is going to tell you exactly which propeller is going to be the best balanced, but certain propellers have slightly thicker blades, a different mounting point between the blade and the hub, all kinds of things that can affect the resonant frequency of each propeller blade. And so just spinning the props at whatever RPM it takes them to make 200 grams of thrust, certain propellers might do really well there if their resonance is far away from whatever that frequency is generating at that thrust amount. Other propellers that are that could very well be well balanced everywhere else, but they aren't very well balanced at that specific RPM, are not going to do all that well. And so I thought that was super interesting. Some of the props that I'm testing are not on here, namely the HQ3 by 2.5. But as an example, on the left side of this, these are the props that are the worst balanced. As an example, where the hell is it? The HQ 3x3x3 is doing better here than it did for me. And then the GemFan Flash 3052 is significantly worse than it is on here. This testing shows the 3052 does really well at 200 grams of thrust, but you're going to see in a little bit that it does not do very well at all, even compared to that 3x3x3, which did worse than it at 200 grams of thrust, when you actually sweep the throttle and look at the vibrations at all different throttle values from 0 to 100. So really, really interesting stuff. You know, bench testing stuff in some ways is really good. It's repeatable. It feels more sciencey. It gives you like actual data, right? Like Chris put this chart together from actual numbers, not just from flight feel or looking at a black box log and interpreting it, or, you know, any number of other ways that you test in the real world. And so, yeah, bench testing stuff is great, but as usual, it's not the whole story. And it can lead you down a path where like you think you're running the best of something, and you're actually only running that thing is actually only the best in the super controlled, super specific scenario that happened on that person's bench testing rig, right? Real world testing, as long as you're doing it in a way that, like, as long as either you are a good enough pilot to actually fight through the placebo and the false positives and all the shit that happens when you just spend a bunch of money on stuff, or you like the color of something, or you like the manufacturer something is made by, you know what I'm saying? Like, it is a little bit difficult to real world test stuff, but if you do it in the right way, I think a lot of times it is more valid than a lot of these bench tests. I really, you know, bench testing plus real world testing is the way to go, right? Like, we take the bench testing for exactly what it is. It tends to be a very specific kind of thing that gets tested. And so you take that and you file that shit away. And like what I personally do, I will take like the best performing stuff from the bench testing and then go fly it for real and pick which and do, you know, real world tests to figure out which one. So like prop testing, bench testing of propellers, for example. The one thing that you can never really figure out on the bench is how durable a propeller is going to be. So I'll look at like the 4 or 5 or 6 best performing propellers in bench tests and then go fly the shit out of them. And pretty much whichever one is most durable, if I'm flying a freestyle rig, that's the one that I go with, right? Like, that's the way to choose your gear, right? Like the bench testing is going to give you a data set. Someone else testing it is going to give you another little bit of a data set. Take those, and then you go do your own testing, and whichever one that you think is best after your testing, because your testing is going to be totally different, right? You crash differently. You fly differently. You want a different amount of runtime. You want a different amount of power. Every one of us is unique. And that's a good thing, but it kind of makes picking the best product for you a little bit more difficult. But this is how you do it. This is absolutely how you do it. You do not take a bench test as the absolute end-all be-all, because it commonly is not. It is a great set of data to work from, but then you need to do a little bit more than that, or else you're going to be flying whatever does well on the thrust stand. We don't fly on thrust stands, you know? Our quads go hurtling through the air. And like, even just, you know, like the thrust stand at full throttle, when you hammer full throttle, there is a split second where this thing hasn't had, the motors have spun up to as fast as they can spin, and the weight of the quad has not started moving yet. For that one instant, that is the only thing that bench testing is actually good for. Because as soon as this thing starts to move, there is incoming air. And that makes the motor and props job easier. And then it just keeps going faster and faster and faster. So like, that's a really good example of how bench testing kind of falls apart in the real world. And you can, like, you know, with motor testing, for example, at 100% throttle, that is putting more load on that motor and propeller that it's ever going to get other than that one split second. And so that is, you know, a motor that's a little bit smaller is going to do really bad in that bench test because it being smaller, it can't shed enough heat. And when you hammer a motor full throttle, when it's locked down to something, it's going to get really hot. And so, again, just be careful. Careful with bench tests. It's so easy to be like, no, that's the science, it's data, it's, you know, lab coat shit. It must be right. It is right, but it is not the situation that we fly in. Efficiency testing as well, right? Like testing efficiency with the motor locked down where it has to move all of this static air is going to be different than when you're flying through the air at like a funny angle, right? This is another thing. Bench testing is done with the motors and props locked down, typically like this. It wouldn't really make a difference, but it's pulling air 360 degrees, like an airplane propeller almost. We don't fly like that, right? We fly like this. And when the incoming air is coming at this like awkward angle, propellers perform significantly different. A lot of the performance improvements that we've gotten in FPV with FPV propellers are from real world testing props on these wacky things that we fly that put the propellers into all of these awkward orientations, right? We fly like this for a while, then we slide sideways for a minute, then we're flying like backwards, then we're doing flips and shit, right? And so, yeah, real world testing, friends. Real world testing is really, really important. But just be careful of the placebo. When you've just bought something, you're gonna love it, no matter what. You need to fight through that and, you know, try not to let that affect what you think is the right kind of setup. The other thing we're going to do tonight is get started on the Kayou mini build, which so many of you have been waiting for. Thank you for being so patient, because an awesome package has arrived. That's from Mighty Car Mods. Go subscribe to their channel and enjoy the best automotive channel on YouTube. The best automotive channel
in the world.
Uriel has sent me a Flywoo. Where is it? Here it is. Flywoo 04 Lite with the crazy wide angle lens setup. And that's what I've been waiting for to get this Kayou mini build started. Thank you so much, brother. He wrote a little note. It says secondhand, what's that word? Secondhand electronics for my favorite podcaster, to toast for NS. I don't know what to toast. TOST. At Uriel. Thank you so much, brother. Very, very cool of you. I've been looking forward to building this rig with this camera as a comparison point of like 04 Lite, which I've got on this Baby Turtle. This is just perfect timing because we've moved on to the Baby Turtle 2.5-inch prop testing, of which I've done a bunch. And so this guy, this right now, the Baby Turtle is on 1202.5s, which I've definitely found are too small of a motor. So this is going to get pulled apart just to have some motors direct soldered on, some bigger motors direct soldered on, some 1203s. And then this build over here with the Kayou Mini is going to go directly to some of the bigger motors. Matthew Arose has very kindly sent 2 sets of 1203s and 1 set of 1204s. And then I have a set of AMAX Performante 1303s. So we've got 4 different motors to test. 1203, 1203, 1204, and 1303. With a bunch of different KVs. We've got 7,500 KV. One of the 1203s, the T motors are 8,000 KV, I want to say. There's a set of RC Power 1203s that are 11,000, maybe 11,500 KV. And then the 1204s, I believe, are, I want to say 10,000 KV. So this will be really cool. This will definitely get us dialed in on the right motor size, which propellers jive, how much KV is too much KV versus not enough. So yeah, all the while we'll be able to check out the Flywoo wide angle versus the 04 light. And yeah, we will all learn a bunch together. I'm super excited. This is going to be really, really cool. Because, like, we're at this point where we've got these unbelievably capable itty-bitty builds that are so safe and so quiet and, frankly, easy to build, right? Like, these builds are absurd. It's an AIO, a board that plugs in, and then, like, you screw a bunch of stuff together, and, like, sometimes you can even have motors that plug in. Sometimes you don't even have to solder motors. We're going to be direct soldering motors with both this one and the Baby Turtle, because the bigger motors don't come with motor plugs. There are a couple bigger motors that come with motor plugs, but I'm not really interested in those specific motors. So yeah, this will be really slick. I'm really curious about the KV, actually. I have a feeling that the 7,500 and 8,000 kV motors are going to be enough. I think that that's going to be enough kV. I have a feeling that on a 2.5-inch tri-blade propeller, 11,000 kV, for example, is going to be too much. It's fine. We just motor limit it down in the PIDs tab, and we're good to go. But that'll be really cool to see. I'm definitely looking forward to that part of the testing. That's funny. They give you a little lens cap that doesn't work, unless there's like an ND filter on here, but I don't think there is. No, there's not. Oh my God, there is. There is an ND filter on there. Oh, but the lens cap still doesn't work. It's actually, I'm sorry, it's not an ND filter. It's a UV filter, which is actually really nice because the, as I found out the other day, it's very easy to scratch lenses on, in my case, DJI 03. The 03 that's on the Siren F30, the 03 lens is now scratched. And it's like, it's scratched like right in the middle, like in the worst possible spot. So that's a big old bag of jank. I'll keep this here just for the moment. Mailbag continues. Can you, Jesus Christ, Jimmy the Cow sent an incredible amount of stuff. He sent me a sticker. Kelvin is his actual name. Where does Jimmy come from? Are you in here, Jimmy the Cow? Is there any mooing going on in chat? There's no mooing going on in chat. We're gonna wait. No, there he is. There he is. He says moo moo, everyone. Where does Jimmy come from? I've shipped to Kelvin a few times, not realizing at all that Jimmy the Cow is Kelvin. I'm gonna call you Jimmy the Cow. Jimmy the Cow lives in and or around Portland or maybe Cannon Beach. This is the rock that I flew out to, Haystack Rock, that I can never remember the name of. I bet you I now remember the name of it because I have a super cool sticker. Yeah, he sent me a bunch of really fun stickers. And I have a feeling that he works or owns Clean Line Surf Shop. And you'll see why in a second. But I just have to show off these amazing stickers that he sent me. He also sent me a big old stack of his stickers, so these are going to be going out in pretty much everything that I ship. So a lot of you guys are going to get to show your Jimmy the Cow love soon enough. Mr. Zogs. And then look at this. Build drones, smash drones with a little cow in there. So yeah, these will be going with all the giveaways and all that jazz. And then look at this. Holy hell. My whole family is going to be outfitted with Cannon Beach surf shop stuff. Look at all this amazing apparel that he sent me. I gotta figure out which stuff I want, and then I'll give the stuff that I don't want to Maggie and the kids. I'm keeping this one. This one's all me for sure. That first one might go to Florence. Look at this! Look at this cool zip-up hoodie, man. And on the back, I'm probably keeping this as well. And then this fella. Maggie, Florence, and I all wear medium in men's. Although, actually, they're probably small in men's, but they make medium in men's work. And then this is a really nice black hoodie. Look at that! Dude! Jimmy the cow! What a fucking... Not a cow at all. What a... He's an elephant. Aren't elephants sacred? I guess cows are sacred in some places too. He's a lion. Jimmy the fucking the lion. What an incredible care package, dude! Thank you so much. This is outrageous. You know, it's funny. We didn't buy any, like, we bought barely any clothes when we were there because our suitcases were pretty much filled. And so, like, we don't have hardly any clothes that say Portland or Cannon Beach on them. We were just gonna, next time we're going to Cannon Beach for sure. We're gonna do a family trip to Cannon Beach, or maybe just me and Maggie. But yeah, we're gonna stay at an Airbnb on Cannon Beach because it's just the coolest fucking place we've ever seen. And so we were gonna make sure that when we did that, we left some room in our suitcases. With this time, this time when we went, it was for a conference. Maggie was going for a conference, and so she brings all like fancy, you know, businessy, nice clothes and shit, and that takes up a lot of space. And so, yeah, we didn't have much room in the suitcases. Cole FPV says, I'm pretty sure he said in Discord that he's in Seaside. Aha! Daytona Jim, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says $5 holler. My nose is betraying me right now. What do you want, Teddy? What are you looking for? You doing some sniffing? Teddy's never smelled Mr. Zog's sex wax before. Oh, and a Mr. Zog's chapstick as well. Want some chapstick, buddy? Arr. Arr. Here, let's put it on his little nose. Oh, look at that nose going. Look at him sniffing it. Oh. Hi, doggy. What are you doing? What do you want from me? You want to make a mess over here out of my stuff? Yeah, you do. Is that what you want? You want to be a bad? What? What is this? What are you begging for? What is this begging? Oh. What are you doing? What? What was that grunt? He made a grunt. That was a little weird. I blew my breath in his face and he went, "Arr, arr, arr, arr." I guess he was dying. Oh, shit, yeah. All right, so yeah, that's the plan for tonight, friends. Of course, this is a Q&A live stream, as they all are, so if you have any questions, there's probably 14 other people that have that same question, so ask it, and let's talk about it together, and get to the bottom of it, and learn shit. All right, buddy, go away now. I also got a little shipment in from Pyrodrone. I actually, if I'm honest, kind of forgot that I had ordered this JHEMCU AIO. So I ordered, but I'm glad that this happened. This is the GEP-RC Taker F411 12 amp 1 to 2S AIO with ELRS on board. And so now we have the GEP-RC option, the JHEMCU option, and the Flywoo option for 1 to 2S ELRS on board AIOs. Sample size of 1, so like if one of them blows up, we haven't really learned anything, if I'm totally honest, but if one of them doesn't fly right, then yeah, don't get that one. That won't be the case, but yeah, it is cool to have one of each of these. The GEP-RC one comes with the little rubber grommets installed. I have never seen that in 5 or 6 years of AIOs being a thing, I have never seen one come with the grommets on it. That's kind of wild. They have someone sitting there putting the... Well, hold on. Is it slotted? I can understand it if... Oh, okay. So the board is slotted on the outside, so you just pop the little grommets in. It's super easy. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, when they slot the outside of the board, it's super easy to get the grommets in there. My nose is just absolutely losing its mind and trying to kill me. I snagged a version 5 Tattoo R-Line 4S 850 with the XT30 on it. I'm excited to see how this performs compared to the R-Line version 1s that I have like 7 of, which are the batteries that I run on the live broadcast gear. This being a version 5, it's probably going to be a little bit heavier, but it should be a higher C rating. That won't really matter for me. I fly as low in the throttle as I possibly can to get as much runtime as I can on those rigs, but it'll just be a cool comparison point. I'll get to put this through its paces 2 weekends from now at Tulsa Tough, 3 days in a row of Criterium cycling insanity. So that'll be pretty cool. I forgot that these even exist. Tattoo makes a long flat style 4S 850. So I snagged one of these, again, just to kind of see how it performs. I got a couple more of these 2mm thick M2 spacers, which are threaded and really, really nice for stacks, for separating your stack, or you can use it as the bottom nut to keep your screws that you're going to put your stack on from wobbling all around. That's super important. There are now these injection molded XT30 to XT60 adapters that are so much better than the previous ones that can easily break. So every order I do, I snag one of these. This is XT30 battery to XT60 on the quad. And then in my flate bag is the opposite of that. So yeah, I've got both sides now. Actually, I'm going to throw this over here. Hopefully that did not just disappear. And then last but not least, something that I've been meaning to get from Pyrodrone forever, that I decided to get because it's looking like we might not be able to get the M5 nut X-Nova 1804 3500 kV motors anymore. RC and Power for a long time has had this motor. This is GTS-V 1506 4300 kV. As much as I love those X-Nova motors, if we can't get them anymore, I'm not gonna fly them. I might still fly them, but these you can currently get. I wish that these were 1505. The fact that these are 1506, they're a little too tall, but this is our 3-inch, 3.5-inch freestyle M5 nut 3mm motor shaft option. This is also an example of the fact that you can absolutely make a 15mm wide motor that has a 3mm motor shaft, because that's what you're looking at there. That is a 3mm motor shaft down below the bell. I will prove it to you. And so it's infuriating that all of these motor manufacturers are not doing 3mm motor shafts, because it is the thing that makes the biggest difference in motor durability. And it's just very weird that nobody does it. It's almost like they don't have people that fly working at these companies, or at least they don't have people that crash. And so if I go onto the bottom part of the motor shaft, what? That's 4mm. Hold on. No, that can't be 4mm. Okay, no, I was measuring the C-clip. I was gonna say, what the shit? There you go. proof, motherfuckers. 3mm motor shaft. So if you want a durable motor for a 3 or 3.5 inch build, this is going to be a good choice. Like I said, I wish it was a 1505. The fact that it's a 1506 means that it's going to be able to hit your battery really hard. The stator being 6mm tall is going to allow this thing to draw a ton of juice from your battery, and it's going to be able to make a ton of power. A little bit too much power, in my opinion. I tend to fly lower power setups so that I have more throttle resolution, so this might be the exact right amount of power for you. But yeah, for me, I always say that, you know, you should try to fly the lowest power setup that you can so that you have the most throttle resolution. And these are going to make big power. Again, like I talked about earlier, you can just go into the PIDs tab and motor limit it down a little bit, and that'll help quite a bit. But we try not to do that. We try to fly motors that are the right size and the right kV. Also, if this was a 1505, it would be quite a bit lighter. Quite a bit lighter. It would be lighter though. And so yeah, the X-Nova 1804s are my favorites, and I think you can still get them in 3500 kV in T-mount. But the other problem with those motors is that they're only 3500 kV. And so they're kind of a 3.5 inch motor. That's okay, because the 1804 stator size is a little bit too big for a 3-inch propeller anyway. So they're kind of perfect for 3.5 inch. But this motor being 4300 kV, this is going to work for 3.5. 3.5 high pitch if you motor limit it down, 3.5 inch low pitch, or 3-inch high pitch motors. So this is a motor that, like, if you decide you don't like 3.5 and you swap everything over to a 3-inch frame, you're going to be fine. You won't have to swap motors. And that's a really, really, really good thing. So yeah, I wish they only sell these motors in the silver color right now. They used to sell them in that cool pink and light blue. But yeah, you can only get them in silver now from Pyrodrone at least. And I haven't seen these for sale anywhere else. I'm actually pretty surprised that it's a GTS V2, because this motor came out like 5 or 6 years ago at least. And I think they were just doing like GTS as the naming convention. So I don't know, maybe they re-released this motor or something as a GTS V2, or maybe they've been doing GTS V2 for that long and I just didn't realize it. So there you go, friends. I also still have to find a build for these Speedy Bee AIOs. I was hoping to get to these this week, but it's just been chaos around here. So they're gonna have to wait a little bit longer, unfortunately. Oh my god, I have a funny feeling I'm gonna have a massive allergy attack. Hang on a second. At the beginning of the live stream, I played you guys the Emax Avan Rush 3-inch propellers on this guy, and then I played you half of the Gemfan 3052s. Here's the rest of the Gemfan 3052 flight while I go blow my nose. Nope, I lied. I'm going to play you the HQ 3 by 2.5 by 3, which was the best balanced of the propellers. I'll be right back. Be right back. Oh yeah, here comes the allergy attack. Yay! I can feel it. Ugh. This is misery. 'Tis the season, though. I just went for a walk. I maybe should... I have to get outside, though. I have to move my fucking body, or it's just going to stop working completely. Ah! I'm about to look like fucking Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Oh! All right. Ugh. Oh, yeah. This is going to be bad. I can just tell. I can just tell. No, I'll keep this here for a minute. All right, let's dive into the let's look at chat real quick. Double Jose was first. J Tux, Jimmy the Cow, Flemo, Uke, Sear, Nathan Wells, Level Up, J Tux, Jimmy the Cow, Zout, Doc Holiday, Sear again, Zip FPV, P Money, Jimmy Bobby, Double Haul, Cole, CXB, Mike K, Whoop Fox, Striker, Newborn, Dagul, Cole again, Doc Holiday, Capital C, Daytona Jim, thank you again for the super chat, P Money, Varden, Mike K, Cole, J Tux, Sear, Uke, Capital C, Tom Rides, Cole again, Brandon's Baked Beans, B. Kirk. I think I got everybody. Breezy does it. Nope, there we go. Thanks for coming, friends. CiottiFPV.com if you like these live streams. I do not monetize these because I do not want you to have to watch YouTube's dumbass commercials. Hook a brother up. Go to CiottiFPV.com. Join my Patreon for $3 whole a month. That's 10 cents a day or like 20 cents a live stream. And I make more money from that than you doing like YouTube stuff. YouTube takes more than 30% of your money. Patreon takes less than 10%, I believe it is. So join the Patreon. There's a ton of benefits, and it's just the best way to support people that are doing cool shit. There's also an Etsy store with lots of fun stuff you can buy. There's a Fiverr page. You can work one-on-one with me to learn a lot fast. There are affiliate links there as well. Use affiliate links when you're ordering things on the internet. Almost every website has an affiliate program. Support people that make cool stuff that you can watch here on YouTube for free, and they'll keep making cool stuff for you to watch on YouTube for free. Cool? Let's do it. In the chat, Jimmy the Cow says, Moo. Sear says, will you test 3060 or is it a hard pass? 3060. 3060. Sounds so familiar, but I can't picture it. 3060. Oh, the Azores? The Azor 3060s? Yeah, I'll test those. I should have some of them. Is there another 3060? I'm pretty sure it's the Azor. Yeah, I have some of those. It's oh, I was about to say I sometimes don't like testing stuff that you can't buy. Fuck, they're out of stock. I have a feeling that you're not going to be able to find them in stock, but I'll still probably test them, to be honest, just because there aren't many M5 nut 3-inch props. Although wait, no, the M5 motors are on the 3.5-inch rig, so I might not test those Azores. But we'll see. Yeah, I'm not gonna promise anything, but I'll probably end up testing them. Sear says Azor Power 3060. Ignore if you answered this already. Mike K says, got the motor to fix my 3-inch and the motors to build an analog Kayou Mini. This weekend is going to be fun. Very cool. Whoop Fox says, you're going to love that Kayou on GemFan 2512. 2512, that's a really low pitch prop. I've been flying it for a few months, maybe sell my 5 and 3-inch is all I want to fly. Yeah, I've been having a blast with the baby turtles and whatnot. This Kayou Mini is not going to be any different than the baby turtle, Bando turtle rather, 2.5. And then I've also done a bunch of testing on the Pro, the Turtle Pro 2.5. The Kayou Mini will be basically the same. It's going to be a little bit heavier, and it'll have a different camera, so that'll be really cool. But I have been testing higher pitch propellers mainly. Although the GenFan 2512s were actually pretty good. You got to put a lot of RPM into them. These bigger motors that I'm going to be putting on the Kayou Mini, I have a feeling the 2512s are not going to be pitchy enough. And the HQ T 2.5 by 2.5s, the T 2.5 by... I can't even read that. 1.9, and then the Emax Avan Scimitar 2.5 by 1.9s. I have a feeling those are going to be the props that kind of shine. Also, those propellers are a lot stiffer and a lot more durable. The GenFan 2512s are like super wispy and light, and so like if you were to do a really lightweight 2.5-inch build on motors like 1202.5, yeah, I can see those 2512s being awesome. But on these bigger motors at the lower KVs, I have a feeling those more pitchy props are going to shine, but we'll find out. You know, a part of the motor testing is going to be running them on the different props to see how they react, to see how the response time is, to see how the tune feels. I'm gonna what I'll do is I make the tune not stock, but like a little bit more aggressive than stock. And then if a propeller is too heavy, it'll kind of fly like shit. If a propeller is really lightweight, it might be sort of overactive and oscillating a little bit. And then if a propeller is right in the middle, right in sort of like the sweet spot, it'll fly really nice. So that's one of the things that happens during the testing. So yeah, we'll see. I'm excited, man. I've been wanting to do this Kayou build for a while, but it just took forever for Flywoo to get their thumbs out of their asses and ship this camera to Uriel and then him ship it to me. There was a crazy back and forth with shipping from Flywoo to America. It was crazy, but I'm super appreciative of Uriel for sticking with it and getting this thing to me. Striker says, got my Cinesplorer V1 in today. What filament would you print ducts out of? I would not. I do not like 3D printed ducts. They are too floppy, and like what'll happen is like you throw it on your bag, and like if the duct is pushed up against something while it's on your bag, the TPU will sort of develop like a memory in that position, and then you go to fly it and the propellers hit the duct because the duct is all like pushed out of shape, and then you got to sit there and like try to mold the duct back into shape. And then the harder filaments, they just explode when you crash into stuff. So the ducts that you see me running on pretty much everything, the CiottiFPV ducts, those are definitely the way to go. If you can find them, the Cloud 149 ducts are super tall and super slow. Those are all that I run. Cole says, it has taken a while, but I've come to learn to hate everything I buy until further notice. There you go. Yuke says, hell yeah, I was starting to think he was messing with you. Doc Holiday says, what thickness of frame is that Bando turtle? I keep forgetting to ask you. Whenever I order a frame, if there's ever an option for thicknesses of carbon fiber, I always go with the thickest option. So all of these sub 250G frames that I've gotten are the thickest possible option. I think on most of them that means 2.5 millimeters, but if you want to know for sure, just go to CNC Drones, look at the different frames. Some of them they might do like they usually do three thicknesses, 1.5, 2, and 2.5. There might be a frame here that the options are 2, 2.5, 3. So if you really want to check, yeah, just go there. But I always get the thickest thickness carbon because it's not that much of a difference in weight. And especially when it's a solid base plate, it's such a pain in the ass to change the whole base plate because you got to take the entire thing apart. And so I will absolutely, and also the thicker carbon is going to isolate the vibrating motors from everything else. And so you'll be able to tune it farther. You'll have less tuning problems. It's just, yeah, it's a good idea in most cases to get the thickest option. Getting the thinner carbon fiber, it's almost never going to make enough of a difference in the weight that like it pays off and you sort of like it any better. Look at that. My nose is getting red already. By the end of the stream, I will be looking like Rudolph. I'm certain of it. Okay. Capital C says, did you receive the package I sent with the Kayou canopy I printed for the wide 04 light camera? I did. I opened that up a week-ish ago. And where is it? Here it is. I'm going to hold off on the canopy that you sent me. I printed the canopy for the Flywoo wide angle camera out of SaneSmart 92A, I think the SaneSmart TPU is. Somebody in chat will correct me. And with everything going on with trying to get this footage into GyroFlow and have it, at the moment, I'm trying to get a soft-mounted camera kind of set up. And so for right now, it's going to look terrible with this on here because it's got the really cool burgundy Sunloo silk arm guards and battery straps and whatnot. Yeah, it's going to look kind of silly, but I want this to be as fair of a comparison as possible to the Bando Turtle, which has the soft camera mount out of regular TPU. And also, I want the Kayou Mini to hopefully run the footage through GyroFlow and get pretty good results. So for right now, I'm going to use this. But at some point, I'm really curious, actually, to try this printed out of this much stiffer Sunloo. Is this TPU, capital C? I forget. I don't think it's I guess it is kind of TPU-ish. I don't remember if this is TPU or another material, but boy, is it. I mean, like, I'll do this. I'll put this one in my strong hand, and then this is in my weak hand, and like, here, like, if I, yeah, I could barely distort this one, even in my right hand, and whereas this out of the SaneSmart, I can just completely flatten out. So yeah, I'm gonna use this for right now, but I can't wait to see if there's any difference between softer TPU and harder TPU. If there is, then we can get even softer TPU. Drublick Mike in chat got some 85A TPU, and it is noticeably softer than the SaneSmart TPU, which is up in the 90s. They're not the exact same camera mount, but like, okay, that's gone forever. There was that one, and then here's this one. So if there is a difference between these two, I'm going to get a spool of 85A TPU and start printing these camera mounts in even softer TPU to see if that can get us that extra little bit of soft mounting for the aliased gyro data to chill the fuck out, so that we can put all of our stuff through GyroFlow that we get from these awesome little freestyle setups. Thank you again, brother. Capital C sent the Kayou mini frame itself, and a whole bunch of 3D printed stuff, and I'm probably forgetting something else that he sent. It's been like over a month. And that is way beyond my my mental capacity to remember anything, even when it's important stuff. Always send me a note, friends. Always send me something so that I can keep it like in the pouch so that I remember who it's from, because it's chaos around here. What's still in this bag? Oh, the little battery strap. Yeah. The battery strap. Oh, and those different length standoffs. I have a bunch of crazy standoffs coming from CNC Madness, CNC drones. Kind of excited about that. So yeah, all right, this stuff can hang out back in here. All right, and we got some 3D printed stuff. Perfect. So yeah, that's the plan. Let's knock the flight footage and propeller testing out real quick here. Jimmy the Cow says, did you get the thing I sent you? I did indeed. Mike K says, what was wrong with the 1202.5 11,500 kV motors on the Baby Turtle? On the Baby Turtle, nothing at all. They're perfect. On the regular Turtle, the 2.5-inch build, they're just not quite big enough. It's not quite a big enough motor, which makes sense. Like, a motor that's perfect for a 2-inch tri-blade is not going to be perfect for a 2.5-inch tri-blade. On the 2.5-inch tries, it's looking like minimum 1203. I have a feeling that 1204 is going to be where the money is, and then 1303 is basically the same as 1204. But we're going to start with 1203s. Cole says, oh, we got that. Cole also says, did he get your size right? Yep. S for skinny fucker. Nope. Small stuff ends up being too short, like this way, and I'm long, and so like when I wear small, my stomach hangs out, and I am developing a little bit of a stomach lately. So yeah, medium is definitely it. Varden says, have you seen the Air 65 rocking the P1 AIO and HD cam? No, that's pretty cool. I am going to be doing a little bit of P1ing soon here with the guts from the Aquila 20 that Beta FPV sent me. But I have to find a frame with a camera mount that'll accept this, what appears to basically be a walk snail framed camera. So yeah, I need to find... I'm hoping to put this into one of these Baby Turtle or regular Turtle 2-inch, 2.5-inch rigs. But yeah, I just need to find a way of mounting that camera. And then I can put on the extremely ill-fitting and uncomfortable Beta FPV P1 box goggles. That, yeah. Are in here. Super cool of them to send it to me. I wish that I hadn't screwed around with the Aquila 20 and tried to get the rates functioning a little bit better, because I made it kind of unflyable. Although, to be honest, the Aquila 20 is so loud that I didn't want to be flying it outside. I did not want to piss my neighbors off any more than I already do. And it's just staggering how loud that bind and fly is. So I'm kind of not bummed at the same time that I screwed it all up by downloading the Beta FPV version of Betaflight and then going in and trying to turn the rates down a little bit. There's 3 rate profiles on it. All 3 of those rate profiles were way too aggressive, way too fast. Kind of a shame, because that rig is meant for brand new pilots, and those rates are hard for me to fly after a fucking decade of doing this. And so, like, as a new pilot, they're going to move any of the inputs a tiny little amount, and it's going to, like, freak out. So that, yeah. I hope they figure that out. Jimmy the Cow says, I own an IT consulting company called Complete Networking, but I remembered you said your style is surf shop, and it bugged my girlfriend you kept calling it Portland Rock. Awesome. Dude, yeah, thank you so much, man. Very, very, very kind of you. Our family is going to be all all Portland geared up. This is going to be fun. B. Kirk says, I was asking about the Super X HD AIO and OVX 300 VTX on Monday. I found out neither has an OSD. So that's why I have no OSD. Oh, bro. Ah, that sucks, man. Yeah. Whenever there's an AIO that says it's HD, that means there's no OSD on it. Most VTXs do not have OSD chips on them. The OSD chip is the second biggest chip on any flight controller. It's the only chip that's like a very drastic rectangle. The size of that OSD chip is like the size of most small analog VTXs. So I don't know of any analog VTXs that have the OSD built in. There are ways to do smaller OSDs, but they tend to not work as well as the old school giant rectangular chip for OSD. Jimmy the Cow says, also the name thing, 1995 I first got the internet, and I lived on a farm with a cow named Jimmy. Need I say moo? Awesome. Striker says, shame the 1804s aren't going to be stocked anymore. I need the wider stator due to Florida heat. Aggressive flying style. 1506 is unusable. I already get overheating issues on 3-to-1 ratio. Maybe if we all message Pyrodrone and or Xnova, fuck or, copy and paste your message from one to the other, they'll stock them again. Specifically ask for 1804 3500, and while you're at it, ask them if they would ever consider doing a higher KV. If you want to hit them with a number, hit them with 4200. If we all ask for 1804 4200 KV Xnovas, 42. If we ask for 4500, then we can run those motors on a 3-inch rig. No, 4200 is fine. 4200 is the right number. 4500 becomes too high of a KV for 3.5. 4200 is perfectly in the middle, where a high-pitched 3-inch prop like the Gemfan 3052, it'll make plenty of power. Or a high or medium pitch 3.5-inch prop, it'll make gobs of power. All the 3.5-inch props make all kinds of power. It's really shocking. YouTube scroll me to the bottom, so now I gotta scroll back up. Breezy Does It says, any tips on 3D printing parts to scale, like pointers for quick ways to do it if you have any? Absolutely nothing, unfortunately. I am a 3D printing total noob. The only thing I've been able to do is I figured out how to use Bamboo's chopping function. And I took, on this rig actually, these prop duct, whatever the fuck these things are, these are supposed to be all the way around, but I'm not going to hit anybody from behind. And so I figured out in the Bamboo Lab software how to chop it in half here. But that's it. That's like the most sophisticated thing that I know how to do. Other than that, I just pull files into the Bamboo Lab software, pick the face that sits down, put as many of them as I can on a plate, and hit go. So yeah, I'm not a good person to ask about 3D printing stuff. I'm a super noob. Nyafu says, opinion on the recent JHE MCU AIOs. They seem to be very obvious clones of other companies. One of them is just an X14, X12 in green. They're like 30 to 40 bucks. I don't know where it is. The Max Frames M2 build is on a JHE MCU AIO, and it's been bulletproof. I'd run JHE MCU stuff many, many, many years ago, and it was fine. It was just as good as everything else that was out. So I can't say anything great about them. I also can't say anything bad about them. They seem to be okay. I didn't realize that they're kind of cloning stuff, but at this point, fine. Clone whatever you want. If it's going to be in stock here in Cheeseburger Land, I'm all for it. Whoop Fox says, I'm using 1202.5, 11,500 kVs with the 2512s. Yeah, so the 2512 makes a lot of sense on that motor, which is probably why you like it so much. I'm going to be going bigger on the motors to crank these more durable propellers. But one of my favorite props on this setup with the 1202.5s was the 2512s. They're really lightweight, and they actually let these motors have nice response time. So that's why you're digging them. Capital C says, I've found the 2512s to be a bit less than thrilling on the Kayou. The GemFan 2520s are pure joy. The HQ21s feel great also. Yeah, it totally depends on the motor. It depends on the motor size and the motor KV. Strager says the only problem is you kind of just can't buy ducts that aren't printed. Both the Cloud 149 and the Stan FPV ducts are molded. The Cloud 149 ducts are going to be hard to find. The Stan FPV ones, you just go on his website and order them. Mike K emailed CNC Drones. It was informed their color carbon options are T300 and not T700. Yes. But I have heard from people that know a lot about carbon fiber that on FPV frames, T700 doesn't really help. It's not enough. Is it better? Yes. Is it enough better to actually show up and make a difference on our frame designs? Apparently not. So yeah, I've never, at some point I will order a sub 250G FPV frame in both T700 and T300 colored, and we'll take a look at them in a black box log, and I bet you there'll be no difference. But at some point I will do that. Probably the next time I order from CNC Drones. CXB FPV says, I have a set of Happy Model 1203 11,000 kV motors. Would these be okay for a 2S build? They would, as long as it's like a 2S build on a 2-inch tri-blade prop. 2.5-inch tri-blade prop is going to be a bit much. It'll still work, but those motors are going to be really good for a 2-inch tri. Mike K also says, just FYI, if you want to print 85A TPU, you're going to get best results and minimal headache printing from directly above your printer right into the print head. You do not want to go through any tubing at all. I have heard that 85A is a motherfucker to print. So we'll see. I'm almost certainly going to get some of it at some point. Capital C, thank you. He says it's 98A. Yeah, Sane Smart is 98A TPU. Thank you. Wait. Capital C, are you talking about this Sunlu stuff? This Sunlu Silk stuff? Or are you talking about Sane Smart? I'm curious also about the density. I got mine to work in GyroFlow by double stick taping the camera in the canopy instead of screwing it in, using HQ 2.1 pitch props, I think. Very cool. Interesting. I haven't put the camera in here yet to see sort of how it fits, but that's a really cool idea, using VHB as a bit of a vibration damping setup. Very cool. Capital C says, you have the same gangly issues with t-shirts that I have. Mike K says, oh, farts. Weird. Mike K says, weird because on the Kayou Mini website, it recommends the 1103 as their baseline motor. Is 1202.5 not enough for it? 1202.5 and 1103 are exactly this, not exactly the same, but like they're the same stator volume. 1202.5 has a little bit more surface area, so it stays cooler. But the big advantage of 1202.5 is that when you get to a motor that's 12 millimeters or wider, the motor shaft diameter below the bell goes from 1.5 to 2 millimeter. So 1103 motors, you're going to break all the time. You're going to bend motor shafts left and right. I had a set of 1103 VCIs that only lasted like 5 batteries before one of the motors was wobbling all over the place. It was nasty. The 1202 and a halves and 1203, 1204, 1303, they're going to hold up so much better from that extra half a millimeter. So it really makes sense as early as you possibly can to get to a 12 something motor until maybe at some point somebody makes an 1103 or 1104 with the wider motor shaft, which might not be possible because of the size constraints, but we'll see. Malik says, I saw at the China Drone Expo, Beta FPV had a 5-in-1 for the P1 analog with modules, monitors, and VRX. What was your opinion on the P1 from the little time messing with it? It seemed pretty good. Who was it? Was it Rimsler? I think Rimsler was showing the all-in-one with P1 on board. Crazy. As insane as it is that HD0 is able to make a 5-in-1, it's wild that Beta FPV is apparently able to make a 5-in-1 with like proper, as far as I'm concerned, digital. It was really good. The goggles are awful. The goggles do not fit my round-eyed face. And they're also box goggles and they're kind of cheap. And so like, yeah, the P1 system at the moment is handcuffed by the fact that there's not a good set of goggles for it. But other than that, really impressive for like a $35 camera and VTX. That's insane. There will be more Beta FPV P1 content sooner than later. I just got to find, like I said earlier, I got to find a frame that I can mount that P1 camera in, and then I'll do a little build. Brandon Bean says, I can see the difference in noise plots between, no shit, T300 and T700. Less resonance in T700, but T300 doesn't break. Ah, okay. It just kind of splinters and delaminates. Sometimes that's better to avoid ripped pads. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. It was, I think it was an interview that Bob Rugi of FPV Cycle did with somebody that worked in the carbon fiber industry. And one of my favorite thing about that conversation, it was like an hour-long video on Kebab's channel, is they were talking about the north-south 45-45 layup of carbon fiber, which I was just watching something on YouTube the other night, and they talked about doing that layup, and there was a name for it. God damn it. It was the guys that are doing, or no, it was on Gears and Gasoline, actually. They're doing a whole bunch of carbon fiber panels for Little Ben's Civic. And they laid the carbon fiber up 45-45, and apparently there's a name for that. You guys might get some dropped frames. I wonder if that's from YouTube's memory leak. Let's take a look. Nope, that's not from YouTube's memory leak. It's just from YouTube being a horrible platform for live streaming. So I apologize. There's nothing I can do. Send a letter to YouTube that says, hey, assholes, there's thousands and thousands of live streamers on your platform. Fix your shit so that they can do their job and make you more money. Mike K says, oh, and you need to dry the shit out of it. If you think it's dry it some more. It's so hydroscopic, it's insane. Yeah, I'm pretty nuts about drying TPU. My dryer, I have a decent dryer over there with a fan and a heating element. And it's got a little, not a thermostat, but whatever tells the humidity. And I run, I also do, I've found this really cool 3D print file for these inserts that are vented all the way around that you can then drop silica packets in. So all of my TPU lives in these bags with silica packets, and I run this whole shit through that dryer. And I can always get them. I usually do them for 6 hours, and they'll be 35% humidity by the end of the 6 hours. And then I put them away, and then for at least like an hour before I run it, I run them pulling out of the bag. I always let them sit in the dryer. So I always run. Yeah, I have a good kind of workflow keeping TPU super dry. Capital Z Capital C says, I think all of the Sunloo Silk TPU are 98A. Okay, so if this is 98A, then that would mean that this SaneSmart TPU is like 90, I would say. Because then this is 85, and this is noticeably more squishy. So yeah, the SaneSmart is probably 90 or maybe 91 or 92. Very cool. Brandon Zippian says they also introduced a standalone module that fits in a... What? Fits in a Fat Shark module bay. Holy shit, that's cool. A P1 module that we could just like drop into a set of HD0 goggles or Fat Sharks. That's really, really cool. That fixes their goggles suck issue. Oh, that's really smart. Holy hell. How come nobody else has done that? Imagine DJI doing that. DJI making a little module you can drop into a set of Fat Sharks. Yuke says, not sure if you'd want to, but the P1 camera fits the air canopy. Air canopy? Oh, no shit. Oh, yeah, of course. Because the air canopy just grabs the lens. That would be a little too heavy for a Whoop. I guess I could do it in a 2-inch Whoop. But I'm kind of looking forward to doing it on one of these open prop builds. Good call, though. Yeah, any of the canopies or mounts that just grab the lens, all these lenses are basically the same diameter. Mike K says they revealed P1 AIO. Yeah, we were talking about that a minute ago. B. Kirk says, what motors and frame do you use for the 04 Light drifting Whoop? I'm thinking of making that Super X AIO into an 04 Light Whoop. Motors and frame. The motors are Weebleed 0702 32500s for the max runtime that I can possibly get from it. And then the frame is the Cockroach 65 V3 because I need the little hooks on the frame for the Batwing camera mount to hold that 04 Light camera all the way up front. All right, let's finally take a look at some of this footage, and I'm going to blast through this as quick as possible because it's already 11:20. Jesus. Okay, so black box logs first, and I have already looked at these. I can already tell you that the HQ 3x2.5x3s are significantly better than the HQ 3x3x3s, which are old as shit, the Gemfan 3052s, and the Emax Avan Rush 3-inch props. Eventually, black box will open, and I will be able to prove that to you. But for right now, we'll just stare at it. We'll all collectively stare at it. There we go. Emax Avan Rush up first. And so, you guys, look, I keep giving you guys the play-by-play so that you will know how to do this. And so, join me. Test your props. Like, if you have some of these propellers, do this testing so that we can like have more than just a sample size of one. I mean, a black box log is a black box log, but still, do this testing. It's fun, he says. All right, so pull the log in, and then up here on the overlay, we're going to view the analyzer display, and it's going to come up in the bottom left corner. Move this over here. Move this over here. Here's the analyzer. We're going to click to zoom it. And then in the top left corner, we're going to drop down to frequency versus throttle. And that's going to give us the waterfall. On this waterfall, black is no vibration whatsoever. And then as the vibrations intensify, it goes red and then white. So white are very intense vibrations. Red are somewhere in the middle. Black is no vibrations whatsoever. Up here in the workspace, Mark Spatz, UAV Tech, has an amazing black box workspace on his website, uavtech.com, I believe it is. You install that, super easy, and then you come down here to noise plots, 0. On your quad, you're going to set the black box debug to gyro scaled, and you're going to set the refresh rate to 1/2, which is 1600 hertz. And then you'll get a good quality black box log, although for some reason this one's only going up to 800, which is weird. It should... I specifically changed this today, but it's okay because all the vibrations none of the vibrations are running off the right, so we're good. So now you've got your waterfall. By default, it looks at gyro scaled on roll, but I think that gyro scaled on yaw is a better field to look at for propeller balance, because yaw, if a propeller is out of balance, it's going to shake sideways, and that's going to create yaw. And so we click right here on gyro scaled yaw, and then that shows us. Gyro scaled means that it's the raw gyro data, and that's what we want here. So here is the Emax AVAN Rush BTFL 005. Not too bad. I can just tell you, this is not bad at all. Emax AVAN Rush. Next up is the GemFan 3052. That is worse. That is what a worse noise profile, vibration profile looks like in here. Next up is the HQ 3x2.5x3. That is extremely clean. I don't know if I've ever seen a propeller that's that clean. This is a clean build. It's a strong frame, brand new motors. But that is unbelievable. I'm completely blown away by the HQ 3x2.5x3. Last up is the HQ 3x3x3. This is an old-ass propeller, and it's actually a very fragile propeller, and it's not quite as good as the other HQ. Let's go back to the Emax AVAN Rush. So this is the HQ 3x3x3. We're going to compare that to the Emax AVAN Rush. And the Emax is a little bit worse. It's pretty close though. This isn't that much worse. The 3x3x3 and the Emax AVAN Rush are pretty similar. The worst is the GemFan 3052. But this is not bad. This is a propeller that I have run on freestyle rigs forever. It is plenty well balanced. We've got no white showing up. If it's red, we're good to go. When this starts to turn white, that's when the vibrations start to get pretty severe, and you got to think about like not running that propeller. All four of these propellers are very well balanced. The reason why these are the first four propellers that I flew for this testing is because they're my four favorites. And I know that they're the best balance. So there's another 2 or 3 props that I am going to try, and they're almost certainly not going to be this good. But there you go. That's an onboard gyro in the actual air with throttle sweeps from 0. If I turn the intensity up here, you can see that I'm sweeping the throttle all the way down here from 0% all the way up to 100%. That's a full throttle sweep, and it shows you all along the way how bad the vibrations are. In my opinion, this is how you tell if a propeller is well balanced. The problem with this is, if your frame is not strong, or if your motors are not fresh, even if they are fresh, if they are motors that are shitty and or just out of balance from the factory, it's going to influence this quite a bit. And so when you do this, you kind of need to test at least 2, if not 3 or 4 or 5 different propellers, so that you can compare it to so that you have like your baseline, right? If you just test one prop and it's a hot mess and it's all white, it could be your frame, it could be the motors. And so you test the second prop, and if it's not a disaster, then you know, okay, there's a difference in the prop. So yeah, you got to test different stuff. Brandon's White Bean says, Black Box shows noise up to 800 hertz with a 1600 hertz log. If you want to see up to 1600, you have to set it to 3200. This is due to the Nyquist sampling theorem. Thank you, dude. For whatever reason, I didn't realize it cut it in half. I thought the Nyquist made 1,000 hertz only show 800, and then it made 2,000 only show 1,600. I don't know why I thought that, but yeah, apparently it cuts it in half. Logging up to 800 hertz though, on like pretty much anything other than a really high kV tiny whoop is totally fine. As you can see, we've got everything on this graph that we need. That's all the way turned up. We've got everything, right? There's nothing over here north of 580 hertz, 585 hertz or so. It's just, there's nothing beyond that because it's a 3-inch rig. Everything is bigger, everything is heavier, and so it's too heavy, and the RPMs are too low for it to generate those even higher frequency vibrations, basically. All right, let me try to get caught up on chat a little bit here. Nyafu says 1203 Arsene power motors are perfect for 2.5-inch KM format. It's so insanely fun to fly and cuts the prop wash down by a ton compared to 1103. Yeah, 1203 is a significantly bigger motor than 1103, right? It's almost a 10% increase in stator width. That makes a big difference. Ryan Sadat says, for patrons, it would be super useful to gather a database of black box logs of whoop / 2 to 3 inch frames, as well as the optimal filters. I feel like you've gathered so much helpful info. Optimal filters. Interesting. I can certainly make a Google Docs and throw it on the Patreon with these black box logs, but I don't know enough about filtering to give you guys optimal filters. But hopefully through these live streams, I've kind of taught you all how you can look at these. And basically, you go to the waterfall here and you look for a vertical stripe. I think you can see one on the roll axis of this frame, just barely showing up. Hold on, let me see. Or no, it might be pitch. It's pitch, there it is. So you can see a little bit of a vertical line forming here. This is a frame resonance. And so you hold the shift button and it gives you this cool crosshair, and up on the top of this crosshair it tells you the hertz. So this vertical line here, the center, that's weird. The center is exactly at 300 hertz, and it goes from about 295 up to 310 or so. And so, yeah, a vertical line like this is typically a frame resonance, but not always. It could be loose screws. It could be delaminated arms. There's a couple things that it could be, but it's usually a resonance in the frame. I'm looking at gyro scaled right now. If I click gyro roll, I'm looking at gyro scaled pitch right now. The gyro pitch function here shows you what happens after the filters. So when I click this, it's going to go all black, and that's exactly what we want. That means your filters are working perfectly, and they're just crushing those vibrations, and the PID loop is ignoring those vibrations. So that's, you know, that's what you guys really need to know. I was afraid of black box for many years. It is very confusing with Mark Spatz's templates, and, you know, come to any of these live streams and ask questions. You can get up and running with black box in not much time at all, and get pretty comfortable with it. Cool. So those are the logs. HQ 3 by 2.5 by 3 is hands down the standout. That's a weird face. Let's click play. That's a better face. There we go. Up next is going to be looking at the amp draw at full throttle, and also looking at the RPM at the end of the batteries. Emax Avan Rush first, which is this right here. This is the Emax Avan Rush 3-inch. Very lightweight, very kind of flimsy propeller. The big problem with this propeller is that the propellers go way down underneath the motor mount pad. And so if you're going to run these freestyle on a puller, There's a lot of motors that you can't mount these on because this will hit the motor bell. This particular frame is a pusher, so I was mounting them like this, and on the top of the propeller, there's a lot less shit there, and so they bolted up totally fine. The motors, the 1504 motors, the iFlight Zing motors you can't get anymore, you cannot run these props on the motor as a puller, like this. But as a pusher, you absolutely can, which is hysterical. I can't really recommend these props. They are just too thin. And what happens is they crease like halfway down the blade. And they don't fit a lot of motors. So yeah, I don't love these props, but they're a good propeller to include in this testing because of how lightweight they are. So we're going to look at a couple of goggle DVR files here. And we are going to speed run through these. So we are going to go to the full throttle hit here. Oh, also I've got hover data here as well. So 33% throttle, 32, between 32 and 33% throttle for a hover for these Emax Avan rushes. Here comes our full throttle hit. I'm going to go slow motion, 45 amps. 45 amps was the max, and now it's just sitting at 44, down to 43. So 45 amps. And then at the very end of the flight, we've got 38,000 RPM. So 38K. I forget what that max amp number was already. 45 was it, right? Did it get to 45 or was it 44? 45. 45 amps. And then hover throttle was 32%. All right, those are the Emax Avan props that you should not run. They also didn't, I mean, they were fairly well balanced, but they weren't like magically well balanced like the 2-inch Emax Avan props. Up next are the Gemfan 3052s. So we've got a hover throttle of 32. Same as the, unbelievably, same as the Emax. Well, watch this. I think these are going to pull way more amps. They sagged the battery real hard. I remember that. I'm doing the full throttle punch down here now because it's so loud. 44 amps. 44. I'll be damned. So 44 amps. And now let's look at the RPM at the end of the battery. 30. Look how much lower that is. 34,500. 34.5K. All right. Those are the Gemfan 3052s. Those are my favorite freestyle propeller. They're pretty strong. Next up is the HQ 3x2.5x3, which dominated the balance. So 35% hover throttle. 35%. Here comes the full throttle hit. I missed it. I missed it again. I think it was 37, but I want to get back to the beginning here. Come on. There we go. Yeah, 37 amps. Significantly less. And that means that the RPMs are going to be significantly higher. Damn, they're not. 39,000 RPM. 39K. Last but not least is the HQ 3x3x3. There we go. And hover throttle is looking like 32%. Yep, 32% hover. Here comes full throttle. And come on. In fairness, these were two different batteries. And so, yeah, they're too fresh 4S850s though, so this should be okay. 41 amps. And now the max RPM, 39,000. All right, so 39K. Emax Avan. 30, well, looks like all of them. Well, Emax Avan, GemFan 3052, and HQ 3x3x3 all hovered at 32%. The best balanced propeller, the HQ 3x2.5x3, hovered lower than that at 32. I'm sorry, higher than that at 35% throttle. Amps, 45 for the Emax, 44 for the GemFan 3052s, 37 for the HQ 3x2.5s, and then 41 for the HQ 3x3x3s. So the HQ 3x2.5s are not hitting the battery as hard. And then we can kind of see that in the max RPM, but this is interesting. The max RPM is really interesting. The Emax spun up to 38,000. The GemFan 3052 only got to 34,000, which means that it's a big, pitchy, beefy prop. The HQ 3x2.5 got up to 39, and so did the HQ 3x3x3, which is a little weird. Some of that could... Oh, man. The YouTube memory leak is hammering the computer right now. At some point, YouTube will do what it does best and crash, and then the jittering and shit will stop, but there's nothing I can do about this. YouTube just sucks a bag of donkey dicks. Yeah, that's interesting. The maximum RPMs, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense that the 3x2.5x3 and the 3x3x3 both spun up to the same max RPM. That is admittedly weird. It makes sense that the GemFan 3052 was lower, and then the Emax Avan was a little bit lower. And so, yeah, there's a chance that the HQ 3x2.5x3 should have spun up higher. There's a chance that the battery that I had on it wasn't quite as good. I was running the Dogcom battery and then the GNB one with the flowers and shit on it. And those are my two strongest batteries. So that's a little weird. I will probably retest it. I will end up... Yeah, I'll definitely retest it because I'm almost certainly going to put the HQ 3x2.5x3s on here because they're so much better balanced. And so I'll throw those props on, and I'll put two different batteries on it and see if there's a difference. But yeah, there you go. To GyroFlow. I was actually just using GyroFlow earlier to finish up on this wedding footage. Emax Avan Rush coming at you. And this is going to be with the onboard gyro data. This is an 04 Pro, an old 04 Pro, 2025 04 Pro with the good gyro. And so let's fast forward. Or not. Oh, yeah, YouTube is eating all the fucking memory on the computer, so this is going to be a bit of a mess. Hopefully it crashes soon. Philip with a $5 super chat. He says, no questions, just supporting a cool dude. Cheers. Thank you so much, man. Here we go. Here comes the full throttle hit. Oh, right. Old 04 Pro. Yeah, so that's what GyroFlow is supposed to look like. But I don't know if it comes through the live stream. You might get to see GyroFlow not...
Come on, YouTube. Do everyone a favor and just die. Yeah, you see it? See it wobbling around there? Ready? Wait, nope. Right here, ready? Wobble, 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 wobble. Wobble, 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 wobble. There is still some aliasing going on with the old school gyro. There is still something going on. GyroFlow is not producing results that are anywhere near as good as Real Steady Go being fed GoPro footage. At this point, I am now taking the gyro data out and running 04 Pro footage through GyroFlow with optical flow, because the optical flow does a better job, even on the better 04 Pro old school 4K gyros. It does a better job with optical flow. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Let me see if I can. Usually this doesn't work, but maybe this will work. Hold on. Usually YouTube has to crash to release all of the memory that it's eating. But it's just not crashing for once in its life. And it's just, yeah, no, see, that doesn't work. Yeah, it has to just crash to release all the memory. It's just beyond belief. This has been a problem with YouTube for like 5 years, apparently. And social, I'd gotten around it recently by using this program here, Social Stream, Social Ninja, Social Stream. But Social Stream stopped working last week. And yet Monday it wouldn't even launch. So I guess we can't really look at the rest of that footage in GyroFlow because YouTube is the worst. But basically what we're looking at in GyroFlow is we're trying to back up the fact that the black box logs and the vibrations of the propeller. And on the old school 04 Pro camera, we don't get as much insanity in GyroFlow, so it's actually not really worth it. It doesn't really help us out. And so, yeah, the fact that we can't look at that is not the end of the world. So there you go. There's the first four 3-inch props. My fucking nose. There's going to be a point where you guys open up a live stream and there's just going to be a bloody hole in the middle of my face because I'm going to have fucking X-Acto knifed my nose off. Yeah, social stream is broken. It just sits here like this. It just died. Very weird. Oh wait, no, there it goes. Hold on, it's trying. It's trying. It's all fucked up though. Yeah, no, it's all screwed up. It's broken. Oh well, it's like we used to have to deal, you know, for literally years we've been dealing with this YouTube memory leak. So we're back. We're back to having to deal with it. All right, friends, here comes the Kayou mini build. What do you think of that? So I guess we can choose. I'm going to do a YouTuber thing, and I'm going to make a poll. If I can figure out how to do it, start a poll. Which AIO? JHEMCU or GEPRC? There you go. There you go. You guys get to pick. Vote on that poll and you guys can pick the AIO that we run. What are you doing, Bobo?
Streaming?
Of course I'm streaming.
I was gonna tell you something, but I can't anymore.
Nope. Go away. Don't stay up too late. What are you doing? It's late. Go to bed. It's 11:50. Your mom will kill you. Bad. Bad. No. Tell me tomorrow. There you go. Deeply traumatizing. Well, now I'm sort of interested.
I'm not telling you.
All right, fair enough. I don't blame you. GEP-RC or JHE MCU. Matter of fact, I'm gonna I might ignore the results of that poll, depending on the layout of these. So they've both got USB ports hanging off the bottom. The bottoms are both very flat. Oh look, the GEP-RC is not. It doesn't have the plug header, so I think I'm going to use the JHE MCU. What do you? 76. Perfect. Hold on. How do I close the poll? End poll. There we go. Perfect. Poll ended before more people can vote for the GEP-RC. That's fine. GEP-RC will go on to the GEP-RC I'll use with the P1, because the P1 doesn't have a handy dandy little cable, making it super easy to hook it up like the 04 Lite does. So yeah, this is great. You guys voted for it, and that's perfection. So yeah, this is gonna sit in an orientation probably like that, but we're gonna dive into that. Kayou mini frame. First thing we're gonna do is pull the top plate off and get our stack mount screws in here to figure out how high they need to be. We're going to be building this as a double stack, of course, because we're putting 04 Lite with the amazing, well, hopefully amazing, Flywoo wide-angle camera, thanks to Uriel. And here we go. I forgot to show you guys the other propellers, by the way. This is the HQ 3x3x3. This is the HQ 3x3x3. Old school, old school, old school. Very fragile. It always breaks at the between the blade and the hub. This is the Emax Avan Rush 3-inch. I did show you that one. This is the Gemfan 3052. Big, pitchy bastard. Heavy prop. Favorite for freestyle. And then this is the HQ 3x2.5x3. The best balanced with really good flight performance. This is the one, man. CiottiFPV sells it. Right. Mike K says, check out the RCN Power 1303, 11,500 kV motors. Those things would make a Kayou Mini a damn rocket. So we're going to do AMAX 1303s that are a little bit of a lower KV. And then we're going to try 3 more motors. I probably won't try a 5th motor, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, any one 1303 is going to be very similar to another. So no worries. These AMAX 1303s should give us a really good feel for that motor size. Okay, top plate off. I might as well pull this camera mount off as well. I wonder if I can do that without pulling the front standoffs. Maybe, just barely, kind of. Come on. Come on. Nah, it's not wanting to come off. I'll at least loosen the front standoff so I can get a little angle out of them. Yeah, I'll just take them off. It's fine. Okay, there we go. And all right, perfect. Use an M2.5 the way that I shouldn't. Jesus. Standoffs do not want to come out of there. Holy hell. Oh boy, I am fucking struggling tonight. Jesus. Here's one thing you can do. which is to put a screw in it, and then twist that screw and push. All right, so throw this in here. And then, there you go. And then good luck getting the screw out. Yeah, usually it pops right out. Itty bitty little standoffs. So funny, man. These little like 10mm standoffs are absurd. These might be 15s. Forget. All right, there we have it. Cool. So like I said, we're going to use this SaneSmart softer TPU camera mount just for the time being, for a more apples to apples comparison of this versus the Bando Turtle. Okay. There we go. Okay. I might as well leave that front cage off. So typically you're going to want, well, actually, it's easy to figure out. You look up how tall these standoffs are. In our case, they are, looks like 12mm tall. And then you add the thickness of the base plate. And so we've got like 12 and then probably another 2. So that means an M2 by 14 at the absolute longest. And then you just take one. Don't put it all the way through. Just hold it like that, basically. And then you can see how far it sticks up. And then put your top plate back on. So let's just throw... I am on the precipice of a full tilt allergy meltdown. It has arrived. So I'm just going to put one of these front standoffs back on real quick, so that the top plate will sit nice and flat. And I guess I might as well throw it through the actual hole. And so take it like this, and now you can just see, you can just eyeball the fact that that stack screw is just the right height. It's not too tall. The main worry, the ones on the sides are fine. It's the ones in the front and rear that you don't want to hit the top plate, right? So you put that on there, you put the top plate, and now, as you can see, hopefully, and like sometimes you don't want, oh God, my nose has become a fucking faucet. Sometimes you don't want the stack screws to go up all the way to the top plate, but with these style builds, with these really short standoffs, you almost always do. So this is the perfect size. And again, this is M2 by 14? Yeah. Oh my God. Oh God, why me? Okay. Oh God. Oh. Fuck. Oh Jesus Christ on a cracker. Let me make sure that was actually an M2 by 14. I'm pretty sure it was. Yes, M2 by 14. So that's what I'm going to run. That's probably what I'm going to need anyway. I always try to get 4 matching screws. That one, 2 by 14. Okay, that's a button head. That's not the one. Oh boy, this is... I was really hoping on getting some work done to this build, but instead I'm just going to very soon have to hold a microfiber under the bottom of my nose for hours as it just drips and drips and drips and drips and drips. Because that is my life. There we go. There's 4 matching screws. And the next thing that you need to do, you cannot just throw these stack screws in here and let them hang out, because they move. They move quite a bit, and your stack will move quite a bit. You cannot just do this. You have to put something threaded on the bottom here. At the very least, a plastic threaded nut on the bottom, but don't do that. Use metal threaded nuts. You can get these little M2 1mm thick metal plastic, great, metal nuts. Hear that? When you drop them on the desk, you can hear the difference between the metal and the plastic. These are perfect because they're only 1mm. You can also buy these little 2mm thick threaded spacers off of Pyrodrone or Newbie Drone, but I like these little nuts because they're 1mm, and I can put the stack a little bit lower without having to do like weird stuff with the grommets. And so put that on there and just get it a little bit tightened up. You don't have to go crazy on it. Okay. And so once we get these on here, we'll slap that JHE MCU AIO on and see how it sits. Actually, what we'll really do is fight with the grommets. Uriel says, because we are the chosen for what? I don't know. Keppel C says, you need to use the 15mm standoffs I sent with it. It's really hard to get both boards in with the 12. Aha! Okay. Good call. What's the, you know what? I could just look at the baby turtle. What's this guy using? Yep, those are 15s. Those are for sure 15s. Yep, they sure are. Okay, so yeah, good call, dude. Thank you. I spaced on that. Yeah, so these 12s are not going to be enough, but maybe these will be enough. Let's see real quick. I doubt it. I doubt that these stack screws are going to be long enough. Here's the JHE. Now that I have two of them on, that's enough. So here's the JHE MCU board. It doesn't have rubber grommets on it, but just for the sake of argument, we will lift it up a little bit like that, where it would be once it had the rubber grommet, and then we will take the 04. Oh yeah, no way. Absolutely no way. Yeah, no. That won't work. Okay. So let's pop these out. I was a little bit shocked to be using these. I bet you we can just go one longer. I bet you we can just go up to a 16, M2 by 16. Ugh. Jesus Christ. Ugh. Ugh. Oh. Oh man, now my nose is starting to really hurt. Okay. There we go. M2 by 14's coming out. And let's just try a 16. This base plate is 2mm thick, I believe. So an M2 by 16 is going to give us 14 millimeters of stack height. Actually, you know what? Hold on. Let me just grab this baby turtle. Because this has a similar kind of deal. Yeah, that's just 2 millimeters longer. Yeah, so we're good. So the M2 by 14s are, you might be able to make those work, but boy, it's going to be a pain in the ass. And you're going to have no room in there. What the hell, dude? There's just like shit falling out of my hair now. What was that? There was like, I don't know, something fluffy in my effing hair. So M2 by 16. Those are 2 and 2. 3 and 2. Come on, give me the matching one. Is that it? I can't see shit. Matching. Sweet. It looks like I need more M2 by 16s. I'm running out. Okay. So, same deal. We'll put 2 of these in, and we'll see what it looks like to have those two guys stacked up. But to be honest, if I was able to do it with that Flywoo AIO, there should be no problem doing it with this AIO as well. All of a sudden I've got rabies and I can't manipulate this little nut. Okay. So we'll do the front and the rear, and then we'll drop the AIO down, and then the 04, and we'll see where they're at. Okay. 1. Here's 2. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. If the sneezing starts, I'm gonna have to end the stream. I'm sorry, guys. It's just once the sneezing starts, it's game over. I'm all the way in it. This is getting really bad. It's really fast. Holy fucking shit. Here's the JHEMCU. I still do need to put the rubber grommets in there, but again, just for the sake of argument, put it in there. Hold it up a little bit here. Put this 04 yeah, we're good. That's much better. Yep. There's the plug header. Okay, cool. Let's see how much more I can get done. All right, JHEMCU uses red grommets, which I love. And oh, they give you a set of the motor plugs too. They know what's up. Oh, look at this. They give you a little ELRS wire antenna. That's really nice to have, actually. Let me just get some of this shit out of here. Okay. Oh, yeah, it's dripping. The dripping has begun on my shirt. I'm going to run these grommets upside down because it looks like I could put this AIO pretty low. And again, I'm just going to do front and rear just to do a little test fit here. Okay. And so it doesn't really matter which way it goes, front to rear wise. So there's 2 of those. And then, well, let's see. Okay, there's the 04 light. And yeah, without grommets, it's hitting, but, oh, fucker. Ugh. No, man, this might be game over, friends. I'm sorry. Fucking A. All right, so let's compare the JHEMCU grommet to the DJI. They look pretty similar. Okay, yeah, they're super similar. So let me try to run the. Let me try to run this one upside down. Let's see. I love that they're starting to slot the outsides of these boards. It just makes putting these in there impossibly easy. Like, that's it. All right, so now we got a little bit too much vertical height, but we can squish it down a little bit. But, yeah, this should be it. This should be the right height. We're good. Yeah, this is too much. I'm sorry, guys. I tried to fight through this, but it's just, yeah. I'll be sitting like this for the next hour or two, because it has reached the point where it my nose just literally drips. It just drip. So yeah, I can't do anything because I have to keep this one hand up. Thanks for hanging. Fucking A. This is such bullshit. I hate this so much. Oh god, there's like snot literally pouring out of my nose right now. I'll see you guys on Friday at 7. Sorry for the abrupt end of the stream, but this is ridiculous. Here comes the flying. Here comes the HQ 3x3x3s. I'll see you guys on Friday. I'll probably have this build done by then. I'm sorry. I really wanted to do the build on the stream, but it just didn't work out. Be good. Bye. Fucking die, allergies.
CiottiFPV's goggles locked, grinning like a child. Teddy spaghetti's fur flies and jet wash dreams. Yeah. Chasing small whoops like a dog possessed fiend. Eyes on a neon blur, hard in the chase. Big fuzz and prop spin all tangled in place. Yeah. Four-legged rebel with a rotor stir tail. In the circus of the sky, they never fail. CiottiFPV, Teddy spaghetti, dynamic duo kings, barking at the breeze, throttling at top speed, they zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a 2D smile. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shotty's on sticks, Teddy's on paws. Side by side, legends breaking all the laws. Through the kitchen, over couch scale terrain. Backyard mayhem in their flight domain. No ground too sacred, no loop too tight. Fuzz fuel fury ignites the night. When pilot and pup lock eyes on the prize, every whoop they conquer is a fresh cut surprise. Yeah. Yo, Shotty behind the sticks, Teddy's leading the pack. Prop guard missiles unleashed, never looking back. No leash, no map, just freestyle mic. They on the dog drone streets every day and night. Said whoops, hitting low, gotta nail the dive. Teddy push throttle up, feel the beast come alive. I see the